Good evening, and welcome to the Not So Perfect Bigfoot Show. I'm your host, Miss V. Just letting you know, tonight I was at home, minding my own business, trying to relax, and my friend, Matt Hooper, showed up at the door with some hamburgers. And I let him in because he had some hamburgers. So we just decided that we were just going to do some live feed and just talk Bigfoot talk tonight. And before I let him in the door, I had to see the hamburgers. And they were big, fat, juicy hamburgers. So I let him in the door. So, ladies and gentlemen, the hamburger man himself, Matt Hooper. And by the way, he's in my living room. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Professionals do it, I'm sure.
Matt.
Hey, Miss
What you
V, I haven't seen
doing,
you lately.
hamburger man?
Oh, I just figured, you know what? It's been a while now. That's it's starting to warm up a little bit. Been trying to get back out in the woods,
I
and
can't hear you.
huh?
I can't hear you.
Okay, hold
I
on,
can just talk. I'm gonna call it even.
hold on.
Hey, Marty.
Let me see here.
This is the first time that your voice has not shattered everything around it. I'm kind of
Default.
enjoying this. I got
Well,
free hamburgers and I got the whole floor.
default microphone array, so you can't hear me.
No, I can hear you in the other room.
Hold on, let's see here.
You
Speaker
can
out.
yell and I can interpret what you're saying.
This is just like I'm looking at your settings here.
I
Default
can't hear
microphone
you.
array.
Is the volume up?
Yeah, hold on. One. Text anything better there?
This is terrible.
Oh my god, this is great.
For y'all that just joined the chat, I was minding my own business at my residence. And
Can you go
Matt
check
Hooper showed up at the door
and
with
see if
some
she can
big,
not hear me
fat,
out?
juicy cheeseburgers. So for a cheeseburger, I put him on the show. So I thought that was fair. Now
Yeah,
he's
we're
literally
playing
in my
technical
living
difficulties here.
room.
Hold on. Microphone access is on.
So I'm paying for my cheeseburgers.
It's
Hello, Marty. Well, they can hear you just
well.
well.
Can they hear me? Let's see. Hold on. Here's me
It
unmute.
must be me.
Now I should be there.
It usually is.
Huh? Stop cam settings.
Honey!
I love it. I love it so much.
Matt, entertain them while I figure this out.
I'm not going to get up
Hey,
and dance. That's
Laura.
what I'm going to do.
Hey,
Let's see here.
Facebook user. Hey, Marty. Thanks for coming
Standard
on.
low
We're going to talk
HD
about some
camera.
South Mountain, some Uwari, some Raven Rock,
Reduce
pretty much
stereo
everything North
audio.
Carolina. So I'm going
Echo
to give
cancellation. Turn
Matt
that on. Stereo
the
audio.
floor. He loves to talk, so he will not be.
All right, I'm turning cranking this up. Can you hear me? All right, I just cranked the microphone up, so it should be there. Um, can you hear me? Oh no. Okay. Yes, we are professionals. Oh, this is great. Let's see. Edit names. Stop, Mike, and Cam. That's where it's supposed to be. What happened?
Hey, my stuff went out.
It's the aliens. Hold on. Ooh. Mm. I don't know why. Yeah, because it's showing the microphone's picking it up. I don't know why she's. Yes. Can you go? Well, do you want to? What do you want me to do in here? Because I'm okay. I'm still here. This is great. I love it. I'm going to jump on the phone and see if I can find her or find us. Yeah. Okay. So, what's it called? The not so perfect. Not so perfect. Still here. Bigfoot. That would be funny. Oh, look. There's me. Yeah, see. I've got me up. Oh, look. There's me. They can hear me because I'm hearing me on YouTube. Lady, you're entertaining me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Not So Perfect at All Bigfoot Show with me, your guest host. We're experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. Do not panic. If you do panic in pre-registered subgroups. That's a Mystery Science Theater joke. This is just a test of... Oh boy. Okay. That's funny. Well, if she's doing that... Okay. I see chats. Okay, can I join the chat in here? Dirt Road Bigfoot. We got Laura. We got Tribal Bigfoot Research Team. Okay, we heard y'all, so y'all can hear me. She can't hear me, but I can hear me, and I hear me on the phone. That's great. Love the start about the cheeseburgers. Burgers are great. I've probably eaten too many of them in my lifetime.
No, I can't hear you, but I like it that way sometimes. I'm still trying to figure out why.
If they can hear us, we're in good shape. I can hear you from the other room.
Well, you just carry on and just go with it, brother.
Let me turn this down. There we go. All right, let's try this. Let me Uh-oh.
I can't hear you. So you just
I can hear you, and I think they can hear us. For whatever reason, that's funny. What'd she say?
Cheeseburgers are good.
I think we're okay. I think we're just going to wing it.
Real.
That's great. I'm loving it.
Real or strong.
It was funny because there's another squatcher we both know. His name's Michael. He goes to URI, and we're both Godzilla fans. So he's been wanting to do a podcast with me and talk about the past 30 Godzilla movies going back to 1954. I can imagine that's how this would turn out. This is funny. Vicky has an echo, so... Excuse me.
Where did my husband go?
I think he's hiding.
Well, that's just bullcrap.
Yes, I agree. Godzilla X Kong was great. Godzilla -1.
I finally got Laura in the chat, and here, y'all go. Just what kind of lies are you telling me, Bo? Are you beefing?
We're talking about Godzilla movies. Oh, I love it. Hi. Oh my gosh.
That's correct.
Lori's like, what the heck are y'all doing?
I said that's crap.
Oh, and the words she says, that's crap. It's the Vicky show. I see Vicky's face, but not her video. Victoria has an echo. Turn off your mic on another platform if it's on. Godzilla probably does like cheeseburgers.
No, he just like my hamburgers.
Very cheesy. Just like the Showa era series. It's great stuff. All right. So what you got going on in the other room, Vic? Ah, that scared me. My own phone scared me. All right. You want to check and see what she's doing? I'm scared to leave. You okay? Feelings? I think she's in there. This is great. So, this is StreamYard. For those of you that are computer inclined, I've not messed with StreamYard much, but that's what Vicky uses. And this is, I'm on her, I'm on the Chromebook. And it's good. Looks like a good quality. Yes, Godzilla and Pacific Rim mashup would be amazing. But I don't think Guillermo del Toro is up for the challenge. Catch replay, Mark. Matt, thank you, Dirt Road. Let's just see what happens here. You all right? This is funny. I'm curious to see what Vicky's doing in there. Cause you okay? Seizures? For those of you that are curious, my girlfriend's with me, Laura. She is, can I tell him? Is that okay? She's got epilepsy, so every now and then her auras kind of kick in. So, she's, it's a pain. She's had it since she was 16 months old. Just making sure she's okay. Hey, Laura. When she gets back, I'll say hey, but she's run to the kitchen right quick. I think Laura, she'll be okay. I think she'll be fine. It's just that time of the night, those of you, like I said, she gets these auras, the feelings in her stomach and her chest before a seizure might come on. But are you okay? Yeah, she's okay. We're still working on the technical difficulties. So since I've been told to entertain y'all, yeah, let's go talk about Godzilla. All right, the biggest report of Sasquatch and in-siege from Tribal Bigfoot Research Team. The biggest report. I'll go ahead and do a little bit of this. I think I did about a year ago when Vicky was starting the podcast. I helped her out, and I know we did an audio one, but the stuff I've dealt with in the past has been Uwharrie National Forest, currently a little bit around Raven Rock State Park, which is over near where we live, near Irwin, North Carolina, and some other guys up in Medoc Mountain State Park, and a few places farther out west towards Asheville. Uwharrie was, when I got into this in 2017, it's been kind of a wild ride, and I've been blessed to meet a lot of cool people involved with this, like Vicky and Johnny and couple other guys from both former BFRO guys. I know everybody's got different opinions on the BFRO, but some of these guys are really cool. But for what I do, it's mostly Uwharrie. And once she gets on, she'll throw some questions at me. But if you got anything you want to type right ahead, go ahead, and I'll see what I can do off the cuff. You okay, babe? My child encounter was aired at Travel Channel. Oh, Travel Channel show these woods are haunted. Nice. Tribal, you don't have to tell me where, but a particular county or any area you want to disclose, but obviously I'm not going to ask for, always curious. Because some of these different groups that I've worked with, like, that part of the state, the northern part up near Virginia, and those towards Morganton or Asheville, different sets of researchers, but everything seems to parallel as far as encounters the wood knocks, which is what I really wanted to discuss with Vicky, was, my field is audio because I'm a musician. So I've spent a lot of time in studios, probably 25 years in studios, basically. Let's see here. Let's see. Very familiar with Scott Carpenter's work. Yeah, Scott, I need to go back and look through some more of his stuff. I was a big fan of Cascade Bigfoot years ago out of Wisconsin, I think. His name was Mark Blankenship, but his channel's disappeared. He had some pretty wild stuff. I got you. 47 years. Yeah, it's long. If it stuck with you that long, it must have been pretty great. Scott Carpenter. What did Scott do? Okay. You all right? This is Laurie. Laura says, "Hey, Laurie."
Hey guys. Hey y'all.
Oh, okay. I see Laura. Okay, cool. Now Carpenter. Hold on.
Johnny's
Okay, I'll look that up. I haven't been on YouTube in a while as far as digging through different channels and stuff. There's a few channels I do like, but since COVID, everybody's got a YouTube channel now. It's kind of funny. I teach privately out of the house sometimes, through Skype. Yeah, Scott. I got to dig back through some of his stuff. It's just been years. It's been not years, but it's been a while since there's so many channels out there. And hold on, David Paulides. I need to read that book. Is that the missing? Not what's it called? Missing 411. Is that Paulides? Okay. Thanks, Laura. Yeah, I need to read that because I'm actually really kind of interested in that guy. Wasn't he law enforcement or ex-law enforcement? Okay, both. Well, most of my friends, my father's ex-law enforcement, and so is Laurie's father, and a lot of my Squatchin friends are also either current or ex-law enforcement. So that's kind of cool. Okay, I need to dig him up. This is great. I'm waiting on Vicky. Any luck? Or okay.
I'm back.
All right.
Now I got background.
Now I can hear you in here.
I can hear like that. I'm in the mountains. Hello.
Yeah, you got a delay going on. I'm not sure how to help with
Whose
that.
idea was it to go live? You did bring enough cheeseburgers for that.
Oh, you missed out everything. We've been talking about all sorts of stuff.
Don't corrupt my people.
Yeah, you must have a bad. I hear a delay here, but it's not terrible.
I just want to hit buttons until it's fixed. Carry on.
All right, we'll try
I think
this.
you did this, Matt. I think you did.
I've cursed it. I've cursed your computer. Now, where'd you go this time? All right.
I am fixing the problem, Matt. That's where.
Hold on. Where's the?
Lord, get them straight.
It's just a great name. The Not So Perfect. Yes, I love it.
It's very clever.
It is actually very clever.
I like it.
It's premeditated. Can you hear me better now?
I hear you good over here, but you're asking them, so I'll.
You guys get a background? I think they left it.
No, I hear you. Excuse me. It's those cheeseburgers.
Need some Prozac.
I probably do need to start taking Prozac.
Okay. Matt, what were you talking about?
Oh, Scott Carpenter and some other YouTube channels, and a little bit. One fella, I can scroll back up. He mentioned having an encounter somewhere in North Carolina, but it was a long time ago. And I was just kind of briefly mentioning. You and I have discussed since we all kind of met through the same means through Iwari National Forest, and
the day we met.
huh?
Oh, the day we met.
That's right. That was that. Was that the 4 days out there with like 50 people? I think.
Grumpy was there. David.
Yeah,
Oh, I got
Grumpy.
an echo. I can't talk. I'm sorry.
Poor Grumpy. He passed away recently. Yeah, Grumpy and Kristen and David and all those guys. That was for me being a novice, brand new to all this. That was, yeah, that was a lot
Got an
because
echo
there's
now?
some. I hear you okay, but I think there's still an echo.
I'm gonna just sign off my own show. Entertain them.
Why don't you come in here then?
Why don't you come and fix the audio that you sabotaged?
I haven't done anything. I think she might have. Okay, you're using Windows. Oh, this is great. Hold on. Where's the mouse?
Laura has a good idea. Come on in here and pull up a chair.
You want me to? We'll do it that way.
Why not?
All right. I'll be there in a second.
That's our perfect big show. I got that wrong too. It must have been the cheeseburger. I think you put something in the cheeseburger. Some dope or something. Called sir. Did you turn that one off? You're the tech guy. Gee, I'm just getting him to show.
All right. I'm going to get off, leave studio, and I'll be there in a second.
Just pull a chair up, buddy.
Let's do it the old-fashioned way.
Just pull a chair up.
That's crazy.
Do I need a microphone on?
Yeah. You want that on? And yeah, just if you want to twist it,
Is this?
that's fine. As long as your mic is on, as long as they can hear us, we're good shape.
All right.
Oh, this is great. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Oh, is that better?
Is that better, guys?
Laura's a genius. So, okay. I told you cheeseburger part. This is what happens when you make friends with Bigfooters and they live in your same town.
Yeah, that was kind of weird how that worked out.
No, Matt, you sabotaged it. Just
It's
stop.
my aura. Just
Okay, so he was telling you about Uwari. We met in Uwari.
well, yeah, I think it was probably spring of 2018 or so, because I got into this in 2017. So that's about when I met you and Johnny and David and those other guys.
That's the same year I had my encounter.
Okay, what was your encounter? Is that the dog man we discussed before? Now, to recap some of this stuff, since I do a lot of audio, I dibble dabbled in video. She's got some weird stuff. I don't know if you posted any on your channel.
No,
Okay.
no, cause no.
And then you've got a lot of stuff, and this is to a side note that we were discussing earlier. Is if say for example, if you're on the Facebook forums and people are the naysayers, or I don't want to say naysayers, but people are like, where are all the good pictures at? Where's all the game camera pictures? We've seen them. They exist, but most people keep them private. Why? Because you've got, I can say too many channels, but certain channels on YouTube will steal other people's work and monetize it. And you got, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah,
I've seen it done. I've seen it happen. So a lot of that stuff with me, in my case, was meeting people like her and Johnny and these other guys that got some.
that was the best day of your
That
life.
was
The sun come out and these little rays was hitting me, and it was like, here I am, Bigfoot people.
it was really actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And since then, I spent some. Sure, travel do that. I'll put, if you want to put my email in, that's fine.
I don't know your email. You type it
It's
in.
fiddlermatthooper. It's easy.
You type it in.
I'm scared to touch it. Something will go wrong.
Jimmy, I'll get it for
Yeah,
you.
we'll do it in a second.
So anyway, we were in Uwari. It was me, you, David Perdue, my future husband Johnny. I
Probably
didn't know. I
Terry,
didn't know he was gonna be my husband
a
then.
couple other
Um,
nerds.
Grumpy was there. Bless his
Grumpy was
heart.
cool. He had that giant A-frame or teardrop trailer. That was one of those foldable ones that builds up.
Yeah, he did.
I was like, man, and they had solar panels on it and everything else.
I didn't have any experiences on that one.
Is that when I don't want to sidetrack, go crazy?
You do that all the time.
I know I do it all the time. Stay ADHD. That was when I was in a recording. There's a place at this, I won't say where, you know where it was, but that field back there, and I left my camera recording all night, and it was one of those little, what? Okay, this is this little side note. Just I left the camera recording at this one spot, and it's one of those little 4K cams, about a little bit smaller than the phone, with a battery pack, and every single 3 minutes it breaks it breaks each the video down into the 3-minute intervals. Every single file had all sorts of electronic interference going on, and I hadn't been able to duplicate it. And I just let it record, and it recorded everything, just us walking in and out, recorded all night. But all over the screen was flashes of different colors, and who knows? But that particular area. It's got a lot of weird stories, but anyways, I remember kind of doing this off the cuff. So,
Well, I want to talk about South Mountain because those people are crazy. I mean, they're crazy. We went South Mountain. You get some really good encounters there, but let me tell you what happened to us.
yes, this is recent, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We ended up that place got not the cryptids, but the people got so crazy there. By the end of the night, we had to go tactical. We had to go tactical. Um, First thing we encountered the bear hunter, and he was persistent on wanting to know were we sleeping in tents or not. And my husband was like, "No, we're gonna be out in the open." I was like, "Tell him that. It's none of his business. We don't know this guy. All we know is he got bear dogs out there and they're looking for bears." Well,
You remind me of something else. I'll tell
we
you in a
don't
second.
know. We don't know who it is. And my husband's like, "I don't care. I'll take care of it." I'm like, "Don't know who it. No, but he's right." And we get on top of the mountain and we find a little fire pit. And I'm like, "Oh, that was really nice. Someone left some firewood. How nice."
Probably squatters.
No, I haven't got to that part yet.
Oh,
We're the only ones up there on the mountains. It's me, Johnny, and Lynn, and Cowboy the dog. And that's my husband's dog. He's a squatcher too. And we're up there on the mountain, and these young people come out. I say they are in their 20s. I say young because I'm, but they're probably in their 20s. And one of them had an AR-15, and the other one had, I think that was like a Glock 45. I didn't get a good look, and um, they were in flip flops, and I'm like, "Are you serious? Flip flops on South Mountain?" No. And so they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go find our friends," and I'm like,
snakes.
"No." And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go find our friends," and I'm looking at my husband. I said, "They're out here with AR-15s and flip flops, okay?" And they take off down the dirt road with their little flashlights, and I'm like, "That is not right, okay?" And about 15 minutes later, you just hear them open up with that AR-15.
Ooh.
Yeah. Then you hear another shots being fired. And I'm like, the sister don't be like, I know I don't be playing around with firearms. Because all I had was my little 9mm. And I was like, that's not cool. So, oh, God, thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. But anyway, he said, "Look, 35." he's laughing.
I'm 12, by
You're
the
a
way.
jerk. You act 12.
I know.
So the night goes on, right? And South Mountain is notorious to have an aggressive Sasquatch on it. It has, I'll let Matt tell you about it. It has ran people off. It's crazy area. Well, you don't have to. But night keeps going, and these people hadn't come out from the woods. And I'm like, I'm not liking this. And I think what there was, one of them was girlfriend was with a guy, and they were camping, and
Oh.
they figured out where they were at because the cars were parked up there.
Gosh.
And I'm like, it's gonna be a bloody domestic here. And anyway, night goes on, and we build this fire that we thought these nice people left some logs out for us. And we're sitting there at the fire, and we're starting to have some activities. There's some strange stuff happening in the woods, and I'm like, yeah, and the coyotes are coming out, and Cowboy's like, negative, Ghost Rider, I don't want no part of the coyotes. And I'm like, come on over here, Cowboy, Mama's got you, buddy. And anyway, gunfire went off again, and it got to the point where every time a car would come up, I would take off. I'd make a beeline for the woods just to cover Johnny and Lynn, because we were all ex-cops. And I was like, you know what? These people are crazy. They're weird, and I'm not going out like that. I've done and survived too much in my life. And so every time someone would come up, they would go toward the parking area,
Mhm.
and I'd hit the woods, and I would cover them from afar. And they come out with the gun, and they ended up leaving, but they were coming back. They kept coming back, and I'm like, well, man, I got issues anyway with crazy people, because people are crazy, and I know they're crazy because I dealt with them for 17 years.
Yeah.
And it was a terrible night. They kept coming back, kept having shots fired, and on top of the activity we had, we were sitting around the campfire. True story. Remember those logs I thought some nice person left out for us? No. We were sitting here. And mind you, I've been shot at before, and I've been pinned down by gunfire. It is not a good feeling. And we're sitting there at the campfire. My husband, Lynn, me, we're all prior law enforcement. And rounds started going off in the fire pit. Oh my God. Somebody had taken bullets, dug out the logs and stuck bullets in there. And we were lucky because the rocks around the campfire
Oh,
caught
wow.
I know. It's like every time you would get comfortable.
You had rounds started going off the fire. That's crazy.
No, every time we would get comfortable, another round would go off, and I was like, oh my God. And so on top of that, the coyotes start going off, okay? And I told my husband, I said, you're recording this, right? And he's like, yeah, right. And in the middle of the coyotes going off, this guttural, like it was like a mumble, like it was telling us off in some foreign language, and it was right there with the coyotes. It was like, I was like,
Yeah,
I was like, he's here. I was like, he's here. I was like, did you get that? And his phone weren't recording. I was like, okay. Anyway, we couldn't get off that mountain fast enough. That's the story of South Mountain. I hope I didn't upset anybody.
Yeah, when I was very green, I started off like a lot of guys. I'm still green. We're all green, I guess. Armchair guy, got on Facebook, started reading all this stuff, and and reading books, and never knew where to go in the woods to look for this thing. And I met a couple of guys out of Charlotte, and they kind of got me started. One of those guys, his method was he would leave a recorder, like a little audio Olympus recorder, in a PVC pipe out in the woods with a battery pack for about 3 weeks at a time. And then he would go home and sit there with headphones on and listen to the audio. And that first night when I met those guys online, he sent me some recordings, and I'm sitting there running it through a spectrograph, which is long story short, you throw audio onto the screen, you can see it from 0 to 20 kilohertz. You see the audio, you see the sounds. And I'm listening to this like, what in the heck is going on here? And I called the guy at 3 o'clock in the morning because I was wired. I said, dude, what is this? He said, we don't know. We just got it. And it's every bit of a thing you would hear as a monster. And she knows where this is. I won't say exactly. John Fuquay. Hey, John. What's up, man? We were going to go to Raven Rock earlier. and then we were, hold on, let me get back where it was. It's a monster. I know about where it was at. I know where the recorder was. I think I know where it was moving from. It's coming down the north side of the mountain, roaring, bellowing. And then there's two adults you hear talking off in the distance. The recorder's like 700 feet away from these people. And there's a kid who starts screaming, like a 5-year-old, like a little child, starts screaming, crying. This thing is bellowing. Sounds like something between King Kong and the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. And it's bellowing and it's roaring. And one guy says, Johnny Tucker, what's up, man? Everybody's getting on. And Johnny, you've heard the same story at the campfire up there, where we go. And so
Air Force One. Oh my God. Behave tonight, sir.
So this thing is coming down the mountainside, and this one person says, and I broke this down. I listened to it 100 times at least. One guy says, I can't tell it. And he's got like a Montgomery County accent, And the other guy says,
you weren't country, was he?
It was very country. He says, no bear, it's something. This thing is roaring at them. You can hear the key go into the ignition. I think it was a Dodge. I was trying to figure out what kind of truck
sound
it was.
effect. You just sound effect.
When you plug the key into ignition, they cranked up. They haul butts out of there, and you can see it on the spectrograph.
He does great sound effects.
We'll read what he said in a second. And when they leave, this sucker roars. Okay, let me
finish the story.
Okay.
Jimmy can wait. Come on now, Jimmy.
And anyways, they drive out and these things roaring at them, and then it turns, and you can tell from the delay and the echo, it's going back up the mountain. Now, this is the same place. That's one recording. There's 2 or 3 others they've got the exact same place.
Answer the question first.
Matt, what's the best way to emulate the white noise, so to speak, the high pitch in the woods? If you have a white noise, it's probably going to be above 10,000 hertz. So if you're looking at it, that you're talking about, if you get a spectrograph, like I'm using Isotope RX6, which is a $800 program, or at least it used to be. You could do it with Cakewalk. If you drop your audio into Cakewalk, you can do I think it'd be a high pass. Let's see, high pass or low pass filter, where you cut off those high frequencies, like your crickets, your rain, your white noise. That's going to be up here. You can probably just delete all that, and which will help you be able to pull out what you're trying to hear. That's what I've had to do a lot.
Okay, Jimmy, you can get the rest of it after the show. Finish the.
Okay. But anyways, so
Jimmy,
my what happened to me? You have Studio One? Yeah, you can do that.
you can talk to him later.
Okay. Anyways, so
you can even see a gray in my hair.
What happened to me, where she's talking about South Mountain, I was out there, and I had never heard of wood knock. I've heard about them, but me and this fellow, we're carrying some gear into this field, like literal batteries, car battery, and all this to power our stuff. And I hear about 8 o'clock, I hear dong. People describe a wood knock as 2 pieces of dry firewood being smacked together. And I told him, his first name's Bob. I said, "Did you hear that?" He's like, "No, what?" I think I heard a wood knock. He's like, "Really?" I think I did. It was clear, crystal clear. So a little while later, we're moving stuff back, and then we get back into the field, dong again. I'm like, we both heard. I said, "Oh my gosh, there's nobody here. Who's doing this?" Now, here's where my musician brain kicked in. I didn't notice it at first. So about 10 or 11 o'clock, I hear 2 of them back to back. 12 o'clock, dong, immediately behind me, about 7. Same, just bam, right? Then a few hours later, we were out there in the field. Nothing's happening. You hear a fox way over there. You hear the coyotes. About 4 o'clock in the morning, you start hearing north of the tree line where we're sitting. You just hear trees being ripped down, like a bulldozer coming through the trees, followed by 1 knock. Right? 15 minutes, nothing. 15 minutes later, here it comes again, but ripping through the trees, followed by a knock. It did this 3 or 4 times till about, say, 4:45, around 5 o'clock. And I'm sitting there with him, and he's got his thermal, and I've got a 4,000 lumen Phoenix flashlight. I said, "You want to do a whoop like they do on this TV shows?" I didn't know anything. And he stands up. He does whoop. Can you do a whoop?
Not since I got my tray.
Okay. And anyways, he does a whoop, and we're sitting there. Within 10 seconds, you hear crunch, like three. I love it. I love this stuff. It's so
Go
amazing.
ahead. Go ahead.
3 big footsteps. He throws on his thermal, turns it on, holds it up, and I throw on 4,000 lumens, and there's nothing there. We walk over to the okay, infrasound for echolocation. Okay, that's where
Finish the story.
Okay. My gosh, he's such a nice host.
You
And
bribed me with cheeseburgers. But go ahead. I'm already
anyways,
bad enough.
what this is one of those little weird things I figure I'm warned it's a theory, like a lot of this stuff, is all those wood knocks are the same pitch. And what I mean by pitch is if you were to take on the violin or the guitar, if you were to play a note, like these wood knocks were 652 hertz. It's a slightly flat E note, but you're not going to get that randomly by hitting 2 pieces of wood together, especially the same pitch back and forth. I think it's something here, because when people, and we've all done this, you go to your campsite, you go to your squatching area, and you take 2 pieces of wood, or you hit a baseball bat against a tree. I've seen people do this. They don't realize that sound dissipates pretty quick. I mean, what I heard traveled half a mile at least. It had to. It was that loud, especially from back and forth. So the audio that these guys got of what I call the monster, those of you that are nerds, on a spectrograph, you have your range of frequencies. You got your fundamentals, and then I think the reciprocals. The fundamental is like the actual note. So if I'm here, that whatever that is, a B flat or something, that shows up. Now, the farther away you get from the recorder, the less of the sound you have. But the fundamental, the strongest frequency was 652 hertz. So whatever this thing was roaring was producing that E note, the same place where all the knocks are E notes. I don't know if that means anything, but I think when you read stories about people that do a wood knock, like, baseball bat or on the tree, and they do get a response, maybe there's something there with that. And to that question, the echolocation, the guys I'm talking about here, they got a picture of all the world looks like a howler monkey's face, this much of its face, right? Twisting the game camera off the tree. So you can see, and it's private. Once again, like I said, it's a private picture. No, I've not shared it. I will not share it unless you have permission, and we don't share it publicly, just in groups, because we don't want. It's a respect thing. So they got a picture of this much of its head, the naked skin, half of the eye, the sclera, the pupil, all this, and the hairline and the eyebrow. Looks a lot like a howler, because I found a picture of a howler monkey doing the same thing, I think at a game reserve in Florida, or maybe a zoo, where it's looking dead into the camera like this. This is the same place, but the pupil is contracted, and I think that's a 940 nanometer LED. That's where the question comes from. If they could see IR, see the game cameras, and I'm pretty. I mean, come on.
You're speaking with Richard Daniels.
Rich Daniels.
You only talked his ear off when I was interviewing him.
Oh. How infrasound? I think infrasound, if they're using echolocation, or if infrasound is below 20 hertz, it's a low rumble. I've never recorded it, but I don't think I've ever been hit with it. I have found other recordings that some YouTubers that I respect have posted where there is some infrasound. You can actually rip off the audio from their videos and drop in a spectrograph. Matter of fact, Mark Blankenship had something like that years ago. And I'm looking at it like, okay, he's hearing it and I can see it. You can actually see it was more like I don't want to see the King Kong chest thump, because the gorillas don't do it like that. They have that popping sound, but it was a bam, 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 bam. But you can see it 200 hertz down to about 7. That's the only time I've seen infrasound in a squatch area, so to speak. If that makes sense. Yeah, Laura, and that's not the only thing. That's
Laura.
There's another video of this sucker walking up, an audio of it. They left the recorder, in a PVC pipe strapped to a tree, and then these two guys, they leave. About 2 hours later, and during the rain, this sucker walks up. Crunch, 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 crunch.
There's that sound effect.
I love it.
Again. Do it again.
I do it
Do it again.
I'm sorry, I get excited. This is so cool. And it's recessed, so the recorder is kind of like this, so the rain runs off the end of it with chicken wire on the end, and the recorder is shoved back in there. This thing walks up, takes a stick, shoves it in through the chicken wire, and tries to pry the recorder out. While it's not a video, Laura, it's audio. It walks up and tries to pry the recorder out while it's great. It's huffing and puffing and mad.
That's my phone you're blowing.
Yeah, sorry. And props. We use props here. And and then it gets mad, stops, and you can actually hear the tree branch sway when it lets the tree go because you hear the rain falling off. Shh. And it just kind of puffs and walks away. This is the same place, 20 minutes north of it, where a buddy of mine, when I started telling him I was getting into this watching thing, he was out there at the state park, and he said about 4 o'clock in the morning, him and a buddy were in their horse trailer at this one spot. He said, Matt, I woke up, and he just kind of laying there, and he said something walked up out of the woods, bipedal. Okay. And it walks around the trailer for like 10 minutes. He wakes his buddy up and says, hey, man, I think someone's going to try and break in on us. Middle of the night, but he could hear it. He said, Matt, it walked up. He actually got up and demonstrated. It walked up with a purpose on 2 legs, walked around his trailer, and then boom, goes quiet. First light, they throw open the doors. Nobody's there. What I call is the audio that I've heard, which has not been shared publicly. It's roaring at 2 people, at least 2 men and a child in a pickup truck, 3 o'clock in the morning, September 2017. It was the weekend before the Leonid's meteor shower. That's how I remember that. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's roaring and it's moving. You can see on the spectrograph that it's coming down. I think it was coming down the north-south mountain because that time of the year you can stay straight up because all the foliage is gone. And that's the same place these guys got a recording of January 11th, I think 2018. I remember some of these dates. Something, I don't want to waste too much time, but if you've ever watched those old Discovery Channel videos of like a capuchin monkey trying to break using a rock, or a chimpanzee using a rock to smash nuts, that's what we were hearing on the recording. And it's like crunch, crunch, crunch. And hold on, I'll get to that. And I texted these guys. I said, it sounds like a monkey, or what you hear, something smashing nuts on a rock. Well, the very next morning, the other guy who was working 3rd shift, he's like, I got a video of that rock. I said, are you serious? He posted on the private, and he found, him and his dogs were out there. They found this giant red rock in the middle of the woods with a stream, and there's a pile of crushed nuts in the middle of the rock. And the recording of that night was, I think I said in January, it had to have been 20-something degrees. Like, what's out there in the middle of the night, crushing rock, nuts on a rock? No firewood, no campers, nothing. Just
Bigfoot.
And that same place, the corn, we found where the corn stalks were all ripped down, and little cubby holes were made on the north side of the field there. The only thing I didn't think to do was, you can see where corn stalks have been dragged all the way up to the tree line. Only thing we didn't do was look up in the trees themselves, because there's a video of chimpanzees grabbing maize, and taking the whole stalks up in the trees. And this is once again the same place where they got a recording of a pickup truck driving in, and what you hear the truck give just enough gas to come around the corner, and you hear what sounds like a chimpanzee, that classic chimp scream, a few notches lower. Wah, wah, wah. 10 seconds later, or about 20 seconds later, the truck comes around, you hear a man yell, it's a squatch. The other guy yells, is it? Dang it. I think they were spotlighted. That's what he said.
That's what I would say.
Hey, David. Oh, it's David. David, you know what we're talking about.
David.
And that's,
David.
that's kind of my South Mountain area story, at least from what happened, was when I first heard the knocks.
David come in to keep you straight.
Man, have you heard anything that compares to Sierra sounds? Now, which one of those is the Sierra sounds? The Ohio yell from '94, or yeah, we finally got it working. But we can.
Operator error.
If that's what I'm thinking of, I happen to drop that into a spectrograph. Is that the one that sounds like a siren? Yeah, Air Force One. That is. I wish I had the recording. It's probably on a hard drive somewhere, but it's seriously creepy. Ron Moorhead. Okay,
Cringing at the sound. Yeah.
let's see. What did David say? Yeah, that was weird because when I said I think it sounds like nuts being crushed on a rock because you hear the tapping, followed by a little silence, bam, 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 back to this, and then when what's his name showed me the video the next morning. Oh yeah, here's that rock, the crypt, dude. Um, California, I think if that's the one I'm thinking of. Okay, yeah, the Ohio howl is 700 hertz. When I dropped in the spectrograph, so it's still low and it's higher than the one from there. But my thought is, well, tell you what.
Yeah, he's familiar with the Sahara sounds.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think which one. I've listened to so much audio. Gosh, I've got 7 hard drives worth of stuff at the house. My girlfriend's like, "What are you doing with a stack of hard drives?"
Oh Lord.
Yeah, probably cut it short a little bit. Any other what right quick? You want to run through URI right quick or?
No. Look, you brought the cheeseburgers. You can have the time. Okay.
I'm just trying to think because I need to do a video. That one, the pal. Oh yeah, I don't think I'm familiar with that. I'm gonna have to dig it up. I've been out with the past couple of months, not been out in the woods a lot, so I've not been doing a lot of squatch reading like I should be.
Speaking of URI, David Pardue right there in that chat had the best experience. I mean, he was, you know how some people are a chick magnet? The dude's a Sasquatch magnet. I'm not. And I've been trying to get him on the show. And I imagine if you guys are really nice, ask him nice and chat, he'll come on the show and tell a story. And if he didn't want to get put on the spot, he shouldn't have done.
Hey, Dave, can I tell him the story when I met you that night at Site 7 at our one place?
I think we made him mad.
Nah, he'll love it. He'll love it.
I can hear him.
This
laugh.
in the one place in the UR, he says, sure. One place in the UR, I was out there with a fellow named Jason, his brother Brandon, and a dog named Dozer, I think. I forget the dog. We were like the B squad. You know, we just got into this. It's so exciting and so neat. We learned about some spots in URI. So we go out there, and it was so funny because, you know, we're dressed all in black and we're doing what you see on the TV, see what they do on the TV shows. And yeah, we're going to go up in the middle of the night in the woods with flashlights and do whoops and all this stuff. And I'm walking away towards, walking around, you know, around the curve there because we're at one of these sites, and David, who's listening now, is at another place, which is where I tend to focus now. And I forget what happened, but we were walking around. He walks over to me. He's like, "What y'all doing?" I said, "Hey, sir, how are you?" He said, "What y'all doing out here in the middle of the night? You going walking?" I said, "Yeah, we're gonna go hiking." I'm like, "Why?" I said, "Just
he knew."
Yeah, David goes, "You're looking for Bigfoot, aren't you?"
David's like really built, like he would just knock you out. Yeah, he
David's,
yeah. Yeah, you did right by calling him sir.
I always that's not split screen. And we had problems. We were doing a split screen, but this actually works better.
Not so perfect Bigfoot.
The first 20 minutes was me sitting there like, "Hey y'all, sorry, we'll figure it out." But so that night at this one spot, and David introduced himself to me, and Jason, really, him and his buddy Terry, so he's like, "Y'all looking for Bigfoot, aren't you?" And we're just kind of like, "Oh gosh," he probably thinks we're crazy. And then he says, "You want to look for Bigfoot? I'll show you Bigfoot." So David starts
David.
He starts showing us some stuff that he's caught in several areas, and we're like, "Okay, that's not exactly blurry. That's kind of freaky." And then he's like, "What do you know about this area?" I said, "We don't know anything about it. We're green. We're brand new. You know, we just heard the stories." So he says, and I won't tell any secrets, Dave.
It
He said,
wasn't good.
I'll hang out with you guys tonight. I'll tell you everything I've learned if you don't go and splurge about it on Facebook and everything. I said, okay. So that night, we're just kind of hanging around the fire, and sitting kind of in a circle. David's over here to my left. I'm looking this way. The dog is facing the fire, and we're just chilling. I think Jason had a couple of, Michelobs or something. And David's standing there. He's gonna love this. So what do you say? Okay, I won't. But he says we're looking over to my right, and he's like this. There's your boy. And we're like, what do you mean? He says, there's one looking at us. And I'm thinking, what is this?
He's a Sasquatch.
And like, I think this guy's messing with us. And it was eye shine. You hear about eye shine all the time. And we're like, this guy's messing with us. And then the dog, this is where he got freaky. The dog stands up, turns. I didn't know the dog would be there. The dog stands up, turns, and looks that way. Okay. And David's like, the dog caught its scent. About 10 seconds, that dog's going to give you that little breathy kind of, not a bark, but just like the huff and puff. 10 seconds later, that dog does it. And I'm sitting there like, what is going on? And then we start hearing movement. Something's moving over here. And he's like, David, you're there, obviously. And we're just kind of looking like, okay, something's really getting kind of freaky here. So, long story short, we got up, walked away, and went to get some night vision out. And the dog went nuts. A few minutes later, and everybody got up and started shining flashlights everywhere. And that was it. It got quiet. But that area that I've been going to, that's where stuff has happened to me that guys like Purdue who've seen some stuff, I no doubt about it. I've seen he's got stuff that he's like, I didn't believe you at first, David, I know. And it's been pretty wild what's happened to me. I've got recordings of something breaking sticks and smacking my tent for 15 minutes. I've got a recording of at my gifting site in another area. Something walks up, 9 huge footsteps, walks right up to my tent, starts bouncing rocks off the picnic table, just playing around. Like, what is this? There's nothing there. Nobody's there. Tell them about your Matthew footage. This one area, which I won't say too much more about, the actual, it's a lot of places get overrun. We know this. Everybody's going out there and looking, I don't do the wood dot thing much anymore. I have my own opinions about that, like I said earlier with the frequencies. But the gifting thing, a lot of people I've spoken with have had some luck, and something happened to me because after doing it for 4 years, the same spot, I went out there one time and I left my IR camera recording. Nothing happened. A possum came up. I call him George, as in George Jones. A possum came up, grabbed an apple. The next morning, I was out there with a friend at 7 o'clock. I said, okay, looks like nothing happened. So I went back to the cabin we had rented, and I ran through my IR footage. Nothing really happened. Go back out there about an hour later, maybe 2 hours. No one else has been there. And then I'm walking over towards my tent. I had set up with recorders, and there's a bouquet of ferns intertwined laying next to my tent. Was not there before. I tripped over it. The person I was with said, look, and I tripped over and I picked it up, and it's a bouquet of ferns broken off at the base and twisted together. I took pictures of it. I set it on the table, and I called some of these guys. I'm like, what the heck is this? And and I'm like, did something leave this here? Obviously, it wasn't here earlier, and no one's driven in. There's no tire tracks. Nobody's walked in. Nothing's happened there. And this is a public campsite, but it's vacated. Mm-hmm. I'm like, and I asked Mr. Purdue, and he's like, well, you've been going there for so long. You've been doing the same thing for so long. They probably know who you are. And as crazy as it sounds, I got the picture. I got the audio.
Like
I got
Mr. Miyagi of Bigfoot.
What in the world is going on? And then when I was there with another friend of mine, a piece of wood comes flying over our heads at 2 o'clock in the morning. I watched it fly over our head. And then 10 seconds later, rocks come flying through. Crazy stuff. I need to get back out there. Let me think. What else is there? Well, yeah. Any questions? I don't want to ramble.
Talk about what you heard in Raven Rock.
Well, Raven Rock. I've been going to Raven Rock for 20, 30 years.
We found a huge X there, and it was wedged.
It was weird. We
That
found
was
two of
weird.
them. One was off a trail. I can't say much about that. It could have been done by pranksters. If John Fuquay's listening, he goes out there a lot. I still don't know much. I've heard stories, and something happened with Laurie and I. We camped out there. And something was going on about 2 o'clock in the morning. Some weird audio I've never heard before. And now what I typically do, with my audio is I'll record, say 3 or 4 days, drop the audio in 6-hour increments into the spectrograph, and I can look through everything and see, okay, here's a plane, here's a dog, here's this. What is this? What is this? What is walking around my tent at 2 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, so you want to catalog an area to where you know exactly, oh, that's the rooster from down the road. That's the dog from the north side. That's this, this, and this. When something new pops up, that's the red flag. Because you're like, okay, that's strange. Let's look at this. And footsteps, they show up. Unless you're barefoot. And they don't show up quite as well, which is another thing. Some of us like to think that we can just hit our locals and find out all the gear to hunt Sasquatch. It's not. I don't use game cameras because I think I think most people agree, whether or not, you think it's real or not, that they'd see IR. They have to see IR. If you're walking around in the middle of the night, you have to be able to see higher than we can see. And what a lot of people don't know is the game cameras I've tested, they still send out the IR during the daytime. I could hold one of my cameras up.
Don't blow on my phone anymore.
Hold one of my yeah, it's cheeseburgers. I can hold my camera up. I'm sorry, one of my game cameras is 940 nanometer, which we cannot see. Put my Moto G6 in front of it and signal it, and the Moto G6 will show the IR. I can see it. Like, oh, it is going off in the middle of the day. So, and some of them produce some. I've done this a long time. Some cameras actually produce a very low hum, like almost infrasound. Actually, it was infrasound. It was 15 hertz. I put my hand in front of it and I had my microphone, my noise.
Good night, Marty.
Okay. And I put my hand in front of it, and you can see when I triggered it, you can see on the spectrograph. I think that's interesting. David, when I was out there those few times and got that weird feeling I was being watched, yeah, that was kind of creepy. Gotta go. I'll be watching Friday. Okay. Yeah, I think all I really focus on now is audio, and and just kind of maybe you get lucky. I don't know. I know people that have contacted me privately because I'm a bluegrass musician. I've traveled.
Jimmy's got your contact anyway. I already gave it to him.
Okay, cool. Question. The positives. They've been one thing, getting out in the woods, getting away from the house is good. Learning a lot more about wildlife, which I've always been into that.
Food, cheeseburgers.
The negatives are. I've only met one or two people that actually think it's all BS. Almost everybody else I've talked to since 2017 is curious. And what's really cool is people you wouldn't normally suspect will come out and say, hey, I have not told anyone this, but this is what happened to me. Like the South Mountain when my buddy who's in the band I play with. And yeah, Air Force, we do not know this blessing. We do not. I've not seen the thing. I've seen something on thermal watching us at one spot. It's kind of creepy. I've had a piece of wood thrown at me. I've heard the knocks. I've had something breaking sticks and throwing against my tent in the middle of the night. The good thing with the URI, the puzzle I did, some people say it's so strange, but it's interesting. Like you hear all these stories that people try with gifting ideas and puzzles and red trucks and all this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know, Dave.
Yeah,
If you get Dave on here, get him to tell you about
Hi, Bass. He ain't coming on
When it-
because he's a jerk.
when I walked up to his truck and swiped his truck door and stared at him.
That was in Cumnock.
That's wild. That's creepy.
I don't want to know why everybody thinks Cumnock's creepy though. It's just don't whatever. Okay, go ahead.
Anyways, so which one is this? Oh yeah, man, we put Rick at get back to it. Yeah. Heard what sounded like the hood of a car being. Where's the rest? Oh boy, I want these glasses.
Yeah, I'm not wearing my glasses.
Okay.
So when I lean in, you can see my
I
gray,
know.
and then my hair appointment ain't until 29th right there.
How do you feel? Do you feel like when I heard those knocks, that was surreal because we're by ourselves. It's freezing, dead still air, and then you hear boom, clear as a bell, but coming from the tree line.
Mhm.
And then when you hear something ripping down trees, and there's nothing there when you walk towards it, nothing walks away. You're like, what?
How do you feel when? Sometimes you can feel anxious, and sometimes you just don't know they're there.
Anxiety? Yeah, I already have anxiety, but it's weird because when I go to some of these places, I never sleep. My ears are always going. I'm always listening. And sometimes I know, and David will say this too. When I've been to a few places, you can kind of feel like okay, nothing's going to happen. You don't have that. You just kind of feel it in the air. But the few times I've been out there when something did happen, you just get this. I don't know how to say it. Just that weird, like, all right, we're not alone here. And I've been with some of these guys in the chat. I've been out there and you be dead quiet and you start hearing limbs breaking, walking. It's just like, what is that? But I mean, you're hearing snap, snap, snap. Um, and that's you worry. Then is Johnny Tucker still here? He may not be on, but I won't say anything about you guys' spot. But man, they're getting some good work where they're at, and it's weird. But it's 10:19. Let's go a few more minutes. I gotta get her home. So metal sound. Okay, John Fukin, metal sounds.
Hang on for a minute.
Fuquay, do you have a recording of this you want to send? Hold on. Oh, you run into the. I'm still here.
Just hit the camera off. And tell my Sabama to hang out in there.
Okay, you want me to hang up when we're done?
You just have yourself a ball.
Okay.
I have to get.
All right, show me this right quick. How do I do
Get my
this?
stuff ready for my doctor's appointment.
Start cam.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I've run her off.
Yes, he's run me off my show.
Well, we're gonna call it quits shortly. Okay, John, that's cool. I need to get back out there soon. We were going to try and go today, but scheduling didn't work out. But I need to get some more recorders out there and a few other spots. Just curious, but I want to get back out west from where we are now. That's good. Where I normally go is a good 2 hours from here, and gas is going up. Well, let's see. 3 top fears are bears, cougars, and by far away are people. I've got recordings of people in the woods doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. One friend of mine sent me a recording. I'm not sure. It was 2 people fighting in the woods, a man and a woman fighting each other, like arguing, drunk. Like, whoa, okay. Sasquatch has never felt to be a threat. Everything.
That's debatable.
Well, most of the people I've talked to and people I respect that I trust that, for example, I got 2 guys in the past 6 months that have called me, I've known for years, tell me, Matt, 5 years ago, I would think you were nuts. Then I can use his first name. His name's Trent. Banjo player I've known for 25 years. He hits me up and says, like on Facebook, he doesn't get on the computer. He's like, I saw one. Call me. Okay. He was doing some sort of work up in British Columbia because he's a carpenter. He was doing some sort of staying with a family and a host family and doing some work up there. And he said, Matt, I just went out for a hike one day in this one spot. And he's walking down a ravine. And he said, I got this weird feeling I'm being watched. It spooked him. And then he heard a noise. And he looks to his right. And there's trees have been ripped down from logging. He says there's one standing there looking at him. He said it was about 60, 246, about 100 feet away. it was close enough that he said they locked eyes. He said, Matt, like this, just looking at him, covered with red hair. He says about 7 foot tall. And he said he looked at it, they locked eyes for 5 seconds, and he turns and just walks away. And then the same area that I've been talking about earlier in Uwari, another friend of mine, he sent me an Instagram and he sent me a picture of where he saw his. He's like, yeah, man, I was out there hiking. We're doing some, not hunting. I think this particular area where he was at, David knows, I told you. He said, I just heard a noise, and he looked and he sees this thing walking away from him down a trail. And it's like, it's just wild. It's so wild. And then, I'll get off here in a few minutes. We got to go home. And what I said earlier, and David, you'll agree with this, and so John, you will too, is when you meet people that you do not expect to have had an encounter or had anything. I was at a show on the other side of Troy, near Charlotte, 2 years ago. It was a gospel show, and we were doing so weird. We were doing a show, and it was near the end, and they were doing an a cappella song. I was backstage. I didn't play on this. The preacher, I forget his name. The preacher walks up to me, and we're just chit chatting, because they're doing the last song. It may have been the last song. That's why I didn't need to be on stage. We're just chit chatting, and we're like, I was really still gung ho. I was getting gung ho into this, but I was still really new. And we're just kind of chit chatting. Said, yeah, man, I got to drive to Warriors tonight. And there's deer. This is going to be at 2 o'clock in the morning. There's going to be deer everywhere. He's like,
man.
Yeah. And then I said deer. And then he says, yeah, and other things. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, this is the preacher. He says, we were driving back from that area. I don't know when it was, but he said they were out hunting in Uwarius, and they were heading back to Charlotte. And he said something walked out on the road in the middle of the night in their headlights. He said he thought it was a bear, but when they got up on it, it was 8 foot, huge. He said they threw their lights on it and they slowed down. It walked off the road and they bolted. They said, oh, Air Force One. Honestly, about the researchers holding evidence close to their vest, I mentioned this earlier. I've seen a lot of people steal stuff. Not people, but channels, and it does not bother me. I understand it because if somebody really, if I ever got, I had this funny, yeah, David does too. You have to. It's a really interesting family because I was joking to somebody earlier. I said I got my bluegrass musician friends. I've got my Bigfoot friends, which is completely separate. And I've learned, I have a lot of respect for some of these guys. Some of these guys put in thousands of hours and thousands of dollars just looking for something that we've been told doesn't exist. And I've seen stuff, and I've been privy to recordings and pictures and video. David, you know the one I'm talking about that no one else has. They're like, what am I looking at? This little guy's head's looking at us from 2 trees.
Oh,
that with David. I'm not gonna say anything about it, David, but
I'll shut up to that.
And it's like, what is this thing? Because it's on thermal, but you can't see it. You're looking straight through it with night vision, but it's right there looking at you on thermal. Head, shoulders, and eyes. Turns away, looks back, then they run towards it. It's gone. Except for the hot spot where it was standing. Crazy stuff.
And just so you guys know that when I started,
Yes, sir.
can you say hello?
Hey, John. Say, John.
Just so you guys know, when I started, Matt was the one that really stepped in and taught me a lot of things. And,
yeah, on this, and that's probably why
Yeah.
everything went to poop earlier.
and I cussed a lot.
When the pandemic happened, everybody, had to get online for Skype. I teach on Skype and Zoom some. And well, guys, I'm gonna have to let you go. I've been on here for 1 hour and 15. And Vicki, thanks for having me. And
You take as long as you want. I don't have to answer to Lori. You do.
is she in there?
Yes, she's in there. She's entertaining Johnny.
Okay.
Hmm.
Any questions right quick? Yeah, okay, let me how do I put in my email address? I don't mind making it public.
Okay, you just put it down there. Tell them about your channel and all that other stuff.
Yeah, we've not added a lot. David's part of this channel. It's called Carolina Cryptid Field Research, and we started it a couple of years ago. We haven't added a lot because not being able to get to the woods. But there's some stuff on there out caught. Even some early recordings. I may have debunked one or two of them already. Just when you, in hindsight, going back and re-listening to stuff after years, and I still got some stuff I haven't posted yet that is flipping wild. Laurie's heard it, but Dave, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, let me put this in here.
You talk so fast.
Yep.
And I pick. You have to hit, you know.
Here you
Oh,
go.
you got it. Okay.
fiddlermatthooper. That's my email. I mean, that's my name and that's my job. So, yeah, if any audio, obviously Air Force or where's the other guy? I missed him. Any stuff you want to send me, I can. What I'll do, and obviously it's your property. I'll just, if you got anything questionable, just drop it in, and I'll send. I'll drop it into Spectrograph and see if I hear anything. And if you need me to do a video breakdown of it, I can send it right back to you. It won't take long unless it's 20 hours worth of something. So. Cool. All right, guys, we're gonna get off of here. So, y'all have a good night. All right, this V.
Oh no, you got to end it now. It's your show. Say,
All right, let me.
say thanks for coming to the Not So Perfect Bigfoot show, and thank you for the cheeseburgers.
Oh, Laura.